I saw one today, and I'm not watching it that much, honestly. The Facebook stuff, but
Make a note.
yeah,
Watch what we're on to.
but this guy asked this. Apparently, this guy is a popular preacher over the years. He said he'd been in the ministry 70 years. I mean, that's a long time. And the guy asked him what was one of his advice he would give to some new minister getting into ministry. And he said, "Don't go to seminary."
I saw that one.
Did you see that?
Yeah, I did.
He said, "Don't go to seminary."
Yeah,
He said, "Don't waste your time. Don't go to seminary."
yeah.
He said, "Know your Bible
Know your Bible and pray.
and pray."
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed
I thought
watching
that.
that.
I was like, oh wow, that's.
And he said, he quoted the scripture in Acts. He said that the apostles were ignorant and unlearned men. In other words, they didn't go to college to learn the Bible,
Right.
but they read the Bible. They studied it themselves. But those Pharisees took note that those men had been with Jesus,
Yeah.
and that is more important than going to college to be with Jesus. And I really appreciated that answer.
I did too.
that's-
I was like, you don't hear that ever.
That was gold right
Yeah.
there, I thought.
No, you don't.
So, here in the 16th chapter, let's see where we go. We're going to have to read the whole chapter
Yeah.
because there's a lot of angels in this chapter. And I think we stopped last week with Sister Linda, so it's Sister Donna's turn to read.
Oh.
No, Linda wasn't here.
She wasn't here. We
But
stopped
Mary.
with
I
Ian
don't
and
know how you
Mary.
remember who read last.
We
I
stopped with
was like, I
Mary.
don't
It's like I have no clue.
We stopped with Mary because Ian sat here and Mary sat there. Or maybe Ian was there and Mary was there. No, Ian was
Alright.
here.
It doesn't matter where they sat, but I do think Mary read.
But we stopped. Remember, I said you guys are going to read, and then, but you didn't get to read. I said we'll start with you next week.
And I've thought about that
All week.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say she's been really and I'm glad you're
I
letting
could
her
tell.
if you hadn't
I
let
wrote
her
that
go.
down, too.
Right. It's my turn.
Anyway, yeah. Okay. So we're going to start with Sister Donna. If you don't mind, if you don't want to read, that's
No,
okay.
I don't care.
Okay. And you can stop, I guess, wherever you want.
We got 7 vials, so
7 vials.
how many vials you want to open?
How far do you
Oh,
want her
Stop.
to go?
I don't know. I don't know. I just start reading.
And I heard a great voice out of the temple saying to the 7 angels, "Go your ways and pour out the vials of the wrath of God upon the earth." And the first went and poured out his vial upon the earth, and there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which upon the men which had the mark of the beast, and upon them which worshipped his image. And the second angel poured out his vial upon the sea, and it became as the blood of a dead man, and every living soul died in the sea. And the third angel poured out his vial upon the rivers and fountains of waters, and they became blood. And I heard the angel of the waters say, "Thou art righteous, O Lord, which art and wast and shalt be, because thou hast judged thus. For they have shed the blood of saints and prophets, and thou hast given them blood to drink, for they are worthy." And I heard another out of the altar say, "Even so, Lord God Almighty, true and righteous are thy judgments."
Okay, maybe we ought to stop right there and talk
Yeah.
about that. That's
Kind
a
of an
little
ending.
lot right there.
Yeah.
I don't understand it really, honestly.
All right, moving on.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Verse
so,
8.
Vanessa, you want to read? No, I'm just kidding. Go your ways. So he's pouring out the vials of the wrath of God upon the earth. And apparently these people have been persecuting those that are not on the earth. Or those,
What?
well, maybe I shouldn't say it that way. He's pouring out the wrath of God upon those that are upon the earth, and there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had the mark of the beast, which worshipped his image. So that goes back over to that 13th chapter. So apparently that 13th chapter he got, remember how he was trying to get some to worship his image, and that's how he was fighting against those that keep the commandments of God. Remember, he couldn't cause this flood to take this woman, so this beast came up out of the sea, rose up out of the sea in the 13th chapter, and he caused many to take this image in their right arm or in their forehead. So
Yeah,
that's how he's
the
fighting now against this mark, and that's how he's really fighting now against this woman and her children, the seed, the remnant of her seed, right?
I think so. And I thought,
He's doing it in a backdoor, backhand kind of way.
yeah,
He's not doing it himself. He's doing it. It's kind of like Iran fighting with the proxies. They don't
Yeah.
do it themselves. We're not fighting anybody.
yeah,
But they're doing it but through these proxies. That's kind of what he's doing here, right?
yeah. I had a thought too that I think applies to this chapter,
Uh-huh.
that back in 14 where it said, where did it say that? About, yeah. And there followed another angel saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city.
No, where are you? I'm sorry.
14.
Back in
8.
14.
14:8. Okay.
Because she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication.
Mm-hmm.
And after studying this chapter, I thought this is her falling. This is how that happened, maybe.
Okay.
Like explaining because if she was fallen, it seemed like things would not be going through all this. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, and also I was studying that in chapter 15, like verse 7 and 8.
Mm-hmm.
One of the four beasts gave unto the seven angels 7 golden vials, which is what we're going through now.
Mm-hmm.
And the temple was filled with smoke from the glory of God and from his power, and no man was able to enter into the temple till the 7 plagues of the 7 angels are fulfilled. And I had a note in my Bible at home that no one is going to be able to enter in until this is accomplished. So everyone's going through it. You okay? So, but only those that have taken that mark are going to be sore afflicted with, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
During this time.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that could be like the phrase, you won't be hurt of the second death. It's
Right.
going to happen, but it's
Right.
not going to.
Yeah. Won't have its effect.
Yeah.
You won't be hurt by it.
Anyway, that was just some thoughts I had about it. So that doesn't really help with exactly what it's talking about. But yeah, that those that took the mark, and I think when he pours it upon the earth, don't you think whatever he's pouring that on the earth,
Yeah. I think
that's
it's.
how it'll affect them.
Yeah. And then the third verse, the second angel poured out his vial upon the sea, and it became as the blood of dead men, and every living soul died in the sea. Now I don't know. I'm not really sure about that. Why he uses the sea there. I just know the sea. If he's talking about people here, he's talking about a vast amount of people, and he's talking about a vast, diverse amount, different kinds of people, like the Gentile people.
And if you notice as it goes through, it's like all of the water is turned to blood. The sea, the rivers, the fountains.
I thought that was a strange statement too. When he says, and the third angel poured out his vial upon the rivers and the fountains of waters, and they became blood. It almost sounds like Egypt again, doesn't it? He says, and I heard the angel of the waters say, Thou art righteous, O Lord, which art and which was and shall be, because thou hast judged us.
60 minutes.
I just thought it was a strange thing to say that the angel of the waters,
Yeah.
because some folks believe there's a saint for everything, and there's an angel for the waters.
Yeah.
And he makes a point of saying that. I wondered, it made me think of the angel that went down and troubled the waters there in John once every year.
Yeah, I never thought of that.
Yeah, once every year this angel went down and troubled the waters. And whoever stepped first into those waters were healed. And that's what it made me think of. We're in the 5th verse now.
Now, I had a note in my other Bible that I had made at some point that in verse 3, that dead man, I had dead Christ. Now, why I made that note or who said it, I don't know. Because I was like trying to get, like, would that be people that didn't? Like the blood of a dead man, there wouldn't be any. I mean, I don't know. Dead men don't have blood.
Yeah.
I mean, well, they do, I guess, but
That's why they died, if it was shed, I guess. But
I don't know.
And then the 6th verse, it says, For they have shed the blood of saints and prophets, and thou hast given them blood to drink, for they are worthy. So that's why I say these people in the 2nd verse are people that are shedding the blood of the prophets and the
Yeah.
saints and now the Lord's giving them blood to drink, because that's what they've been doing.
Yeah.
They've been destroying the church. They've received the mark, and they've been persecuting the church.
And wasn't it, I know for the Jewish people, it was like you weren't supposed to drink blood. I mean, that was
Right.
Right, yeah, that was,
a big no-no under the law.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a judgment for sure. And I guess the ones that have the mark of the beast are on this end, and the ones who don't have are on this end of it.
And I heard another out of the altar say, Even so, Lord God Almighty, true and righteous are thy judgments.
Yeah. I guess, well, back in Moses' day, he turned the Nile into blood, didn't he?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
sure did.
It's one of the plagues.
Yeah. So I guess that's all there was to drink, was the water was all bad, so. Anyway,
Okay, you can read on.
me?
Yeah, if you want to.
Okay. Yep. And the 4th angel poured out his vial upon the sun, and power was given unto him to scorch men with fire. And men were scorched with great heat, and blasphemed the name of God, which hath power over the plagues, over these plagues. And they repented not to give him glory. And the fifth angel poured out his vial upon the seat of the beast, and his kingdom was full of darkness, and they gnawed their tongues for pain, and blasphemed the God of heaven because of their pains and their sores, and repented not of their deeds. And the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up, that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared. And I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. For they are the spirits of devils working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world, to gather them to the battle of the great day of God Almighty.
Alrighty. The 8th verse. Go ahead.
Who are these angels supposed to be?
I just don't know. I don't know. I guess it's got to be like, I don't know for sure. Preaching, I guess.
Well, that's what I was trying to figure out. Well, how does that?
It seems like it's got to be like preaching to me. That these men are preaching certain types of preaching, and it's just, this is the power that's coming out of this preaching.
That sun poured it on the sun, and was given unto him to scorch men with fire. That sounds like very condemning preaching.
They were scorched
With
with great heat. Yeah.
And they repented not.
And that 10th verse is kind of interesting too. And the 5th angel poured out his vial upon the seat of the beast, and his kingdom was full of darkness.
Now you said before you felt like the beast was that law,
Yeah. Yeah.
self-righteous law,
Yeah.
spirit, I'll say.
Yeah. Just a vicious law service. Self-righteous law service.
So the seat of the beast, that would be like the seat of power,
And authority.
authority, yeah.
That's what it seems like.
And then sounds like they were blaming God for their pain.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't understand verse 12 at all. But it does refer to kings again
Mm-hmm.
a little later, so maybe that's...
I'm not sure who the kings of the east are. I'm not sure who they are. I mean, I've got some references.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the kings of the east. And I think like Cyrus and different ones, I think are my references, but I'm not sure. You know, referring back to Old Testament scripture,
Yeah.
but I don't know.
Well, that's in 14 it says, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world. In that verse, the kings are of the spirits of death. They're of the beast and the dragon and the false prophets. They're in that. They're in that group.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if this is the same
And then he makes that famous statement, popular statement, "Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth and keepeth his garments, lest he walk naked and they see his shame."
Now, is the they, these kings and all that?
That was my question.
Or is it? In fact, in my other Bible from years ago, I had that written out in the thing. They, question mark.
Yeah.
Is it from verse?
It sounds
I
like
mean, that's what it
they
sounds
are
like.
are these ones up here in the 13th and 14th verses. But that blessed, behold, I come as a thief. So the context is him coming as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth and keepeth his garments, lest he walk naked, and they see his garment. They see his shame. So he never really said. You know what I mean? He never really said, "Watch, lest somebody else sees your." Lest somebody else comes as a thief. He always talked about himself. Jesus did. But here it's a little different, unless that's just a strange translation here, which I don't know. I don't know if my phone
Well,
will
it
get out
seems
here.
like-
I got a interlinear on my phone.
It seems to me that it is Christ. Because if you're keeping your garments,
What verse is that? 15? This thing's actually getting out of here. I don't know if it'll help us any.
What are you trying to figure out?
That word "they" right there.
who is they that are going to see their shame, see his shame? I think I had is it talking about the men, the people in verse 7 or verse 5, one of the two? Or is it the people in verse 14? That was the question I had. I can't.
This just
Or is
says
it the
they might see.
is it the spirits?
Right, verse 14, the ones. Is that what you mean, the one in verse 14?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the other. Because it sounds like it's Christ talking there. And I mean,
Yeah, but the they, I mean, so our options are the spirits of devils,
yeah.
or what's our other option?
Well, the only other they I could find was possibly in verse
13. The
well,
dragon, the beast, or the false prophet.
they're kind of like the spirits of devils too. I mean, I was thinking, was it the ones like in verse 6 talking, or verse 7 that are saying you're righteous and mighty, your judgments are righteous? Or is it the spirits of devils, or that army? I'll just say that army.
I think.
It's like
I think
spirits,
I think
devils.
it's. You do? You think it's?
I
that?
do.
You
Yeah.
think it's what?
I think it's the spirits of these devils
Okay.
that are going forth to the kings of the earth. Because they're the ones going forth, or we know they're going forth. But what do you think?
So well, it would be the same difference, though, wouldn't it? If they didn't keep their garments, if they didn't keep their garments, in other words, and were found naked, then these spirits would get them, right? These spirits would corrupt them,
Yeah,
and then also Christ would come as a thief in their life, right?
yeah.
So it'd be the
True.
same difference
That's
either way,
true.
the same outcome
Because if
either
they're
way.
not watching,
Right, if they're not
then they're gonna
watching,
get overtaken.
so it's
and-
gonna be the same result no
Yeah,
matter what.
True.
So he's warning them to, if they see him walking naked, well, they're gonna overtake them, these spirits of these demons. And also Christ is gonna come as a thief,
Yeah.
and that he's
True.
gonna come in judgment in a way that's,
And he's
Not
getting
gonna be
ready to
good.
gather them all together,
yeah.
like the
And whose
dragon.
side are you gonna be on?
Yeah, so
so
if
to
they see
speak?
your shame, then they're gonna be gathering you in
Yeah.
with them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Not that they would see it as shame,
Right.
No.
but
He's calling it
Yeah.
shame.
Shame,
They'll
right,
see the
right.
shame.
yeah, that makes
So
sense.
either way, the result would be the same. It's just a strange way to say it because he never really said it that way before.
Yeah, I know.
In the 16th verse, and he gathered them together. Now, who's he?
I think that's this.
Now, the sixth angel
Like
poured
the
out his
dragon.
vial. Pardon me.
Are the spirits of devils.
But the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the river Euphrates and upon the water thereof, that it might be dried up, that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared. So he's preparing this. You sure he's not the he there? And he gathered them together in a place called the Hebrew tongue Armageddon. I don't know. I'm asking. What do you guys think?
Could be.
Or you think it's the spirits, those spirits again?
Well, either way, it's again, it would be the same result.
Same result again, basically.
Because they're not going to gather an army against the Lord if He doesn't allow it. So
Yeah. That Armageddon, the definition of that means hill of destruction.
well, in 14, together, okay. For they are the spirits of devils working miracles, which go forth under the kings of the earth and of the whole world to gather them to the battle of that great day of God Almighty. That's why I thought it was the spirits.
Oh, I see, yeah. Okay.
So they,
But either way,
seems so those spirits. It seems like they're going out. So that angel, he dries up the river. So that river's dried up, so they have a
clear path.
clear path to come up to that Armageddon, right?
Yeah, that's what it seems like.
And those spirits go get those kings of the east. It's kind of like those spirits then go out and get those,
Gather them.
gather those. They go gather those kings. So they have a clear route, and then the spirits get them.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you guys are saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's what it-
And all those that are following them, I think,
Yeah, all those that are.
are following
Well, all
them.
those that listen to that.
Yeah.
Because those spirits came out of the dragon
Mhm.
and the beast and the false prophet.
Mhm.
So he that's blessed and watches and keep his garments. Are those spirits like
Blessed is he that.
Because the thief is
Is that
saying,
what you're referring to? That
I
blessed
come
is
as a
he?
thief,
Yeah.
not they.
15.
right?
Everything else is talking about in third person. They,
Mm-hmm.
they, them.
Yes.
Well, they're to gather them to the battle of that great day of God Almighty. So they're really, it almost sounds like they're doing the work for God to gather them all together.
Yeah.
Kind of like when they crucified Christ.
Yeah.
They did,
Are
fulfilled
they?
yeah.
Yeah.
Are they going to? Are they going to everyone, or are they just going to those worthy to drink the blood?
I think it's the ones worthy.
The ones that were judged.
Yeah, the ones that had the mark of the beast.
So is he in verse 15? Is he talking to those that have the mark of the beast?
No.
Mm-mm. People that don't.
Right.
It's kind of like it switches all of a sudden.
Yeah.
This is happening, so I'm coming to this battle. So watch.
Mhm.
Keep yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of some hope right there, I would say.
Yeah.
Because I would dare say they've already been suffering greatly at this point, wouldn't you? Because look what's going on. She's been fighting. She meaning the church, in the 17th verse of the 12th chapter. And the dragon was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Jesus. So this battle started in the very beginning of the 13th chapter, when he stood on the sand of the sea and saw this beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And so it started there. This battle's been going on for a little while.
Yeah.
And then finally the Lord, he begins to do some things. And so he's giving them encouragement. Behold, I come to thee, blessed is he that watcheth. And
In
keepeth
fact,
his
I think
garment.
this is like the final battle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, yeah. In fact, I mean, really, it's kind of applied that way, Sister Donald. That final battle on this earth will be the battle of
Well,
Armageddon.
true.
You know, they
That's
say
true.
that's the final battle. All the Christians after the 7 years tribulation or whatever. I don't know all their
Yeah.
theories they have, but they say that battle of Armageddon is like the last battle. You know, that the
Yeah.
Christians will have to fight. That's not what he's teaching here.
No.
I don't feel like it is.
No, not in that respect, no. But it does say later on in this chapter that in the next verse, it is done.
Mm-hmm.
And it said before the temple, no man would be able to enter into the temple
Yeah.
until these 7 vials are done, or these 7 plagues are done.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so that it is done there in the 17th would mean that those 7 vials are done, right? Those plagues,
Yeah.
they've been poured out. That's done.
Yeah.
That's finished. the 18th on down. That's it.
And there were voices and thunders and lightnings, and there was a great earthquake, such as was not since men were upon the earth. So mighty an earthquake and so great. And the great city was divided into 3 parts, and the cities of the nations fell, and great Babylon came in remembrance before God, to give her the cup of the wine of the fierceness of his wrath. And every island fled away, and the mountains were not found. And there fell upon men a great hail out of heaven, every stone about the weight of a talent. And men blasphemed, I can't say it,
Blasphemed.
God, because of the plague of the hail, for the plague thereof was exceeding great.
Yeah, that's where I got the thought about Babylon. Babylon is fallen.
What about that earthquake? Is that men quaking? Earthquake?
Could be. Voices and thunders and lightnings.
And the great city was divided into 3 parts.
Now that city would that be, that wasn't Babylon. Babylon was a she, right, in this respect?
Would be Jerusalem.
I guess it would be.
How was it divided into 3 parts? Sadducees, Pharisees, and believers.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean,
Except
how would
this-
they be divided? I don't know. I was
I don't know, that was one of my questions.
trying to think of how it would be divided.
The cities of the nations fell.
Old Line and Kingdom Boys and progressives.
Yeah.
I
Or the
don't know.
millennialists, or the.
I mean, I don't know. I'm just
Yeah, I
thinking.
don't know.
You know, if we take it literal, then I don't think that would be. Would it? We'd have to somehow apply that some other way, I would think. But
Now Armageddon wouldn't be a city, would it?
I don't. Well, I don't know. A hill of destruction. But I don't. It's a place. But
I just don't know what city it's really referring to. I mean, it could be Jerusalem, but
and the great city was divided into 3 parts. And the
this
cities
really
of the
wasn't written
nations-
to the Jews, though. This was
Right.
written
Yeah,
to the churches
true.
of Asia.
Yeah.
Right.
True. Could be Rome. The great
Right.
city.
I don't know.
Could be a city of, yeah.
I was thinking like heavenly Jerusalem,
Mm,
Now that could be.
mm-hmm,
but I don't.
mm-hmm.
Well, it referred to the temple before, so I think it is kind of looking at it like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's going to come down out of heaven, New Jerusalem.
And the cities of the nations fell.
Yeah.
That's plural, cities of the nations.
So the great city would probably be Jerusalem, I assume.
Cities of the nations.
Every island fled away, and the mountains were not found.
I don't understand that part either.
Yeah, I don't either. And there fell upon men great hail out of heaven, every stone about a weight of a talent, and men blaspheming blasphemed God because of the plague of the hail, for the plague there was exceeding great.
I mean, that seemed like in my other Bible, it had a reference back to where that mountains were not found,
Mm-hmm.
about where Zerubbabel cried, "Grace, grace,"
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Unto it.
Yeah. But I didn't really feel like that maybe was a good reference. Because it doesn't sound like people overcoming.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Sounds like people being overcome.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I thought of was like when the great tsunami comes and just this overflowing water just covers it, and now
Yeah,
there's no
you can't see
island
any land.
or
It's
no
just-
mountain.
Or mountains.
It's just that's what I thought.
Yeah, well, with the islands fled away, it made me think of there's nothing but water
Covered.
left.
Of. Yeah,
Right.
that's
Hmm.
I don't know about the city in 3 parts, but it would weaken a city to be divided into 3 parts. It wouldn't be a great city anymore,
it's true.
Mm-hmm.
whatever city it is. And all the cities of the nations fell, so.
Yeah.
So there wouldn't be any group
Mm-hmm.
left
Right.
with strength or
Right.
power.
All right, you want to read a little farther? Go into 17th.
What
think
about
this
the
is-
hail out of heaven?
Oh, the hell out of heaven. Well, and there fell upon men a great hail out of heaven, every stone about the weight of a talent. How much weight is a talent? I didn't look that up. You know how much weight a talent is,
It's
Ian?
okay.
No, it's a lot.
For a hailstone.
I pictured it like silver dollars
If it was
falling out of
hitting
the sky.
If it was
But I don't
hitting
know.
you, it wouldn't be pleasant.
It was like several things.
I guess it's just part of the punishment.
Yeah, it's part of God's wrath.
Mm-hmm.
When you're reading through about the thunders and the earthquake and the everything flee, the islands and the mountains are gone. I was thinking that was the plague, and then it says, and there was help.
Help,
was
I
like,
know.
oh, that's the plague, is the hail.
Right. Yeah.
75 pounds.
75
For
pounds.
a talent?
Seriously?
Oh,
yeah.
One
No
talent?
wonder they
Yeah,
were
one
complaining. Wow.
That's what it says.
Oh my gosh, it'd kill whatever it hit.
It has the biblical reference to it. It says Revelation 16:21.
Uh-huh.
75.
The talenton.
That kind of gives a whole new meaning to that, not proverb, the
Parable?
parable.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
5 talents. I gave
10
you
talent.
10 talents.
It's a lot more than I thought of.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking a handful of change,
Same.
Yeah.
Talent is like a coin.
Yeah, exactly.
75 pounds. That's a
Yeah.
Says.
And this, because that's how much the stone weighed. So those were big stones.
75-pound hailstone. That's got to be huge. So yeah, I
So
can see
that
why
hail
it's
just
plague.
destroyed everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anything.
It sounded like with all that it was just completely laid
Right.
waste.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
Okay. All right. So you may go ahead to 17.
Yeah, so I guess we can go to 17, and the word angel is used in the first verse and the 7th verse. So we might as well go ahead and read at least all
And
that,
there-
and then down a little farther, I guess.
And there came one of the 7 angels which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will shew unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of the names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints, and with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. And the angel said unto me, Wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carrieth her, which hath the 7 heads and 10 horns.
You can't stop there.
Oh, the beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit, and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not and yet is. And here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. How far do you mean to read?
That's probably good enough for now. We have a lot to digest. Phone's still pick up. This kind of reminds me of what Brother Gary read. Part of what Brother Gary read on that on Sunday about. That strange woman. I think I might have read some of that too, not too long ago. That strange woman that she catches that man she's subtle and this woman is decked out with beauty and she's arrayed so gorgeously here.
Very attractive.
Yeah, I mean she's. The 4th verse, the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, and having a golden cup in her hand full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. And a person doesn't see that, right? When they're enticed by that, they don't see that's abomination and filthiness of fornication. We don't see that if we're being deceived. We see that we just see that the beauty of that woman. And that's what that man, why it said that he was
void of understanding.
He didn't see that part of her. But she was drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus.
And what does that mean?
It means that she is the one that killed the martyrs of Jesus.
Okay.
She's the one that is guilty of their death.
Okay.
And look what it said about John. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration.
Yeah.
The Apostle John wondered with great admiration. And the angel said unto John, Wherefore didst thou marvel? The angel gets on to John for marveling at this woman. And he says, I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carrieth her, which hath the 7 heads and 10 horns. And the beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder. Now that's just what John did. He was marveling. And I was going to look up, see if that was the same. I'm not getting service.
What were you trying to?
See if I could look it up, to see if wonder and marvel was the same word. Marvel in the 7th verse and wonder in the 8th was actually the same verse. Which one are you going to look up, Donna?
Which would be the easiest? Marvelous. There's going to be fewer marvelouses.
You look up marvel, and I'll look up wonder. Yours is in 17:7, mine's in 17:8.
And while we're looking that up, one thing that makes me wonder is she had it printed right on her forehead. You could see who she was now.
Well,
Yeah.
that's what I was. That's
Yeah.
And yet still he marvels.
He
Yeah.
said up on her forehead.
I guess she
I mean, it says she's the mother of harlots.
this whole thing made. Okay. I'm very confused. Help if I learn my alphabet. UBW. Okay, should be here. Marvels, marvelous, marveled. Here we go.
2296 is mine.
Mine too.
Yeah, same word.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So we might as well just look up the definition while we're at it. 2296. So it's the same word.
Yeah.
They should have just used the same word in translation, honestly.
Makes me think of that song we sang at Sunday. Oh, how marvelous. Oh. I always think those two words should be, I always say, oh, how wonderful.
Wonderful.
Oh,
Yeah, how
mar-"
marvelous.
And it's always backwards.
Yeah, but it does sound like their way sounds better.
Well, that's what I think.
To wonder
At least it comes out
implying.
easy.
Yeah,
Flows.
to wonder by implying, well, that's kind of a commentary, by implying to admire. Admire, have in admiration. And I think that's not a bad commentary in a sense. And that's why the angel said, why are you admiring this woman?
Yeah.
Because that was a danger to John. She's full of the blood of the saints. Her cup is full of the blood of the martyrs, of the prophets and the saints. And yet John's there admiring her.
You know, I just thought,
I don't. What was the definition? I didn't hear you.
To admire,
to wonder.
To
with
wonder.
Admiration.
yeah,
Just
to
what it
admire.
said in there. It made me think of how we will, it's kind of our nature to see someone prospering and doing well. We're like, well, how does that happen? You know, we find it we wonder at it. How do they do that and still live that life they're leading? Why are
Yeah.
they so prosperous and all that?
Yeah,
It made me kind of think of that
yeah.
feeling that it's easy to get.
Well, you ever watch, I don't know if you've ever watched it. I watched that show, what's the guy that sold all the cocaine back in the 70s?
Down in South America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Is it Ian?
All I can think of is Chavez, but I don't think
No, it
that's
wasn't
him.
Chavez. It was
Escobar.
Escobar.
Yeah.
Well, Escobar, the show Escobar. Well, by the time the show, after they get halfway through it, you admire the guy because he helped the poor people, but they don't show all the other parts where
Right.
how he got all that money. They don't show that so much. Well, they do some. They showed quite a bit, but the way they portrayed the guy, he was almost like a hero in the neighborhoods.
Kind of like the old mobsters,
Yeah, same
how they
thing.
would take care of their community.
Yeah, and like you kind of liked him, and then he kind of did some things in his community that was pretty terrible, and then that was his downfall. But you kind of started liking the guy for a while. You forgot really who he was, and you admired him.
Yeah.
You know, you almost like, yeah, I hate to see him.
It's like the ends justify the means kind of a thing.
Right. So
Did you say that word marvel was the same word?
yeah,
It was the same as that word.
As wonder.
same.
You need more water. You look at those dirty fingers. No wonder you've been wearing them socks on your hands all day. Yeah. 'Cause, you know, I don't know. 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 I So, the one that was and is not and yet is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's sitting
And
on
that's
a
the
beast.
beast. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they behold the beast that was and is not and yet is.
So that vicious law service, that would kind of fit that.
Yeah.
Because it was, and it really isn't,
Yeah.
but it is.
But it is. It's still there.
Mm-hmm.
That's like that head that was wounded unto death, but yet it's healed. I mean, it's still alive, and everybody wanders after it. It's dwelling on the earth. And here, I don't understand the ninth, for here's the mind that has wisdom. Maybe I don't have wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. Now I don't know if the 7 mountains if that's Mount Zion. Those supposedly the Mount Zion was set on 7 mountains, or there were 7 mountains around there. I don't know if that's it or not.
I know, I remember, I don't know, I remember Dad talking about that woman sitting on, I think there's one where she sits on the sea somewhere. And she sits on people. Anyway, it was, that's what gave her power, or her authority, was what she was sitting on. She, we would give her her power.
Uh-huh.
Just like John wondering and marveling at her, that's what gives her power, Anyway, I don't know if it has anything to do with that, but I don't know exactly what the 7 mountains are.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
But the 7 heads were on the beast? Is that where the 7 heads were?
Yeah, 7 heads and 10 crowns.
Mm-hmm.
And this beast ascends out of the bottomless pit. I never saw that before either. Where does
Where are you now?
Yeah.
well, that's going back to the 8th verse.
Oh,
The beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition. I don't understand that statement.
Oh, it seemed like the bottomless pit would be perdition.
Doesn't
It
it?
seems like that would be the worst. I don't know. It's like what
Yeah.
I think of.
Like an ongoing fall.
Judge. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
It's kind of where he hid, though.
that bottomless pit, isn't that where Satan was chained up for a while? Or was it?
Yeah, I thought so. Pretty sure.
I forget what chapter that was in. Like 11 maybe?
What is it?
The bottomless pit.
Well, it's in 9.
9, okay.
At the beginning of 9, that's where they have the key to the.
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
The bottomless pit, and there arose a smoke out of it, and the smoke of a great furnace. There came out of the smoke locust, and that they should hurt not through.
Yeah, in the 11th verse, and they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit. whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue is Apollyon.
The destroyer.
Destroyer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so
he,
that's what you were saying. That's where he hangs out at. That's where he hides at, basically.
and here the beast is ascending out of the pit. Right?
Mm-hmm.
When they behold the beast that was and is not.
That would
and
kind of,
is.
that was, is not, and yet is would apply to Satan too, really,
Mhm.
wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
It's true.
sure will.
They're all wrapped up together, so. Yeah.
Hmm.
So the seven heads, wherefore do the tell of the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carrieth her, which hath the 7 heads and 10 horns. So that 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. So it seems to me these mountains are like areas in our life where she has control or power, dominion over.
the 10th verse seems like they represent cities.
5 are fallen, 1 is.
Like if
the
you,
other is
it seems
not
like the
yet
mountains like represent cities, potentially, or kingdoms.
Yeah.
It goes right in and says there are
There's
7 kings, but
Right.
Yeah, I don't understand it.
One is,
He
and the
doesn't-
other is not.
And the beast that was and is, even he is the 8th.
and is of the 7.
Oh,
so there's
okey-dokey.
7 kings, 5 fallen.
That's that new math, I bet.
Oh my gosh. And go with him to
He's the 8th, but
perdition.
he's of the 7. And goeth into perdition. So what is perdition?
Right.
this?
Destruction.
Destruction, okay.
Yeah, perdition is destruction.
Okay.
We can look it up. It has destruction.
Well, that makes sense.
Now there, Sister Donna, the 15th verse. And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest are where the whore sitteth, are peoples and multitudes and
Yeah.
nations and tongues.
That's where it's at, yeah.
Mm.
And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. So they turn against her. For God hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of God shall be fulfilled. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth.
What did you just read through?
He just finished the 17th
15th.
chapter.
I started in the 15th verse.
Oh, okay.
So this is the beast she's riding on, or comes in on.
Yeah, this
The
scarlet
one that
colored
has the
beast.
10 horns. These shall hate.
7 heads, 10 horns.
So this is, she's, okay.
beast. It's strange. So
Mm-hmm. But then in the 17th it says, give their kingdom unto the beast. I don't understand.
So the waters that we saw, where is that? Is that in the previous chapter? What they poured the vials on? There's not waters in this
Mm-mm.
chapter, is there?
Mm-mm.
I think there
Yeah, the
was.
first verse. And the great horde that
Oh
sitteth
yeah,
upon
yeah,
many
yeah, yeah.
waters.
That sitteth on many waters.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm back.
That, to me, that's like many nations. Like Babylon took over many different nations. They conquered like 127 provinces and
Yeah.
nations and different things. So to me, that's kind of what that's referring to, I guess.
The waters.
The
Yeah.
waters.
Yeah.
She sitteth upon many waters.
Those are people, multitudes, nations, and tongues.
Yeah.
So it's all the
I think so. Those heads. It's strange because in the 10th verse it seems like those heads are kings. Because they have crowns, so they have authority.
Mm-hmm.
But they're
Yeah.
mountains. It seems like kingdoms, like they're kingdoms.
Well, and he says that too in the 17th verse. For God shall put in their hearts to fulfill his will and to agree and to give their kingdom unto the beast. So each one of these kings have a kingdom and they give their kingdom unto the beast. They all join together and give their kingdom to the beast to destroy the harlot, Babylon. They all gang up against her. Isn't that what you're seeing?
Yeah.
That's not what they're doing? Isn't that what they're doing? And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall, in the 16th verse, hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. For God hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree, and to give their kingdom unto the beast until the words of God shall be fulfilled. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth. So aren't they gonna destroy her? Turn against her and destroy her?
Sounds to me like they've.
would that be kind of like those nations that were coming up against Israel and God had them stand back and they all killed each other kind of a thing?
Yeah.
Killed all of Israel's enemies right there.
But
Turn
doesn't the
against each
woman reign? It says it reigns over the kings.
Well, the woman which thou sawest is that great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth. But I think her end is coming. This is the end of her. I mean, her
Yeah.
end is coming. Because look, now let's read the 18th chapter.
Because, well, the kings of the earth, and they're going to be, the Lord's going to put it in their hearts to give their kingdoms
Yeah.
over to the beast to destroy. She
Yeah.
did rule over them,
Yeah.
but now they're going to turn against her.
The tables are turning.
They've come to hate her.
But doesn't giving their kingdoms unto the beast, is that like not a good thing?
Well, it's not really necessarily a good thing, but it's going to destroy. It's going to fulfill God's will in destroying Babylon, in destroying this kingdom of Babylon, like He did in the Old Testament. You know, like Cyrus. What you wouldn't call him
Good.
an angel,
Yeah.
but he was God's servant, in that he fulfilled God's will. And God called him that, his servant. Cyrus was a evil man, but he fulfilled God's will in that he went and took over the other empires that had his people captive, and he actually let them loose and rebuilt Jerusalem.
Well, and again, kind of like when they crucified Christ, he brought God's will about. Crucifying Christ was not a good thing. They weren't good people,
Right.
but he used them
Yeah.
to do
They
his will.
fulfilled his will.
Yeah. And Satan, in the case of Job, he used him to do his
Yeah.
will. So,
You guys want to try to get through this 18th chapter? Or?
Goodness, it looks awful long. It's almost 10 after 8. I don't think we're going to get
There's
through
only-
all of it. It's pretty long.
There's only 2 verses with angel in it.
I know, but we always read all of it. If you just want to look at those verses.
Well, we don't have to necessarily read all of it, actually. But I do want to read 1 and 21, at least.
you want to read 1 through 21? Is that
Well,
what you
1,
said?
at least 1 and a little bit down, and then at least 21 a little
Oh,
bit
okay.
down.
Oh,
Before and after. Yeah.
about the angels.
But we don't have to read all of it,
Okay.
because it kind of repeats. There's a lot of stuff we don't have to read necessarily.
Okay.
So he says here, and after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And I like that right there, because to me, what he's doing, that's revelation. When the earth is lightened with the glory of this angel, then if we're sitting in the congregation and a man is preaching and we're lightened with this glory, then something's being revealed.
Yeah.
And we're seeing something in this preaching. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, is fallen. So see, that's why I was saying that a while ago,
Yeah.
that he's changing the tide here. Babylon the Great is fallen, and has become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, now that's a great revelation of what Babylon is when we're lightened with that message. And here's another message. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and God hath remembered her iniquities. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her double according to her works. In the cup which she hath filled, fill to her double. How much she hath glorified herself, and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her, for she saith in her heart, I sit a queen and no widow, and shall see no sorrow. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall utterly burn with fire, for strong is the Lord God who judgeth her. And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and live deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise anymore. The merchandise of gold and of silver and of precious stones and pearls, and then we can skip on down, all the things that she sold. And they're mourning because no man buys all this stuff. They can't peddle their stuff anymore. You get down to the bottom of the 13th verse, and it says, they sold beasts and sheep and horses and chariots and slaves and the souls of men. I mean, they even had slavery going on here. And the fruits that thy soul lusted after are departed from thee, and all the things which were dainty and goodly are departed from thee, and thou shalt find them no more at all. The merchants of these things which were made rich by her shall stand afar off for the fear of her torment, weeping and wailing, and saying, Alas, alas, that great city that was clothed in fine linen and purple and scarlet and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls. That's why it says that she was decked like that, because that's what she's selling. That's her merchandise. It's all this stuff, all this, it's materialism is what
Yeah.
what Babylon is.
Pleasure and materialism.
Yep, that's exactly what it is in
Lust
our
of the flesh.
day-to-day life. For in 1 hour so great riches has come to naught, and every shipmaster and all the company of ships and sailors, and as many as trade by the sea stood afar off, and cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, What city is like unto this great city? And they cast dust on their heads and cried, weeping and wailing, saying, Alas, alas, that great city, wherein were made rich all that had ships in the sea, by reason of her costliness. And in 1 hour is she made desolate. Rejoice over her, thou heaven, and ye holy apostles and prophets. Now he turns to his holy apostles and prophets, and he says, Rejoice over her, heaven, and ye holy apostles and prophets, for God hath avenged you on her.
Yeah.
And a mighty angel, and listen to this, here's what I wanted to get to. And a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone, and cast it into the sea, saying, Thus with violence shall the great city Babylon be thrown down, and shall be found no more at all. And the voice of harpers and musicians, not you, Harper, harpers and musicians and pipers and trumpeters shall be heard no more at all in thee, and no craftsman of whatsoever craft he be shall be found any more in thee, and the sound of the millstone shall be heard no more at all in thee, and the light of the candle shall shine no more at all in thee, and the voice of the bridegroom and the bride shall be heard no more at all in thee. For thy merchants were the great men of the earth, for by thy sorceries were all nations deceived, and in her was found the blood of the prophets, and of the saints, and of all that were slain upon the earth. Man, to me that's a read. We had to read that.
So that great city we read before, it was Babylon.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Mm-hmm.
It was divided into 3 parts.
That was, but that's what she is
Yeah.
when the Lord's done with her. That great millstone, that's what Jesus was talking about when he said, you know, if you offend one of these, least of these, my brethren, he said, woe unto them that offend one of these that believe in me. He takes that whole city and he ties a millstone around its neck and he casts it into the sea with using a mighty angel. That's what he does to that city. That's what reminded me of that when he said that. He took this millstone, a great millstone, and cast it into the sea.
It says better than a mill,
It'd be
Better
better if a
than a
millstone were
millstone
cast
did. Put around
tied
his
around
neck.
your neck, and
yeah.
you were cast into the sea. But that's what he did here to Babylon.
So that punishment's even worse than this.
Yeah, that would even be worse than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Which is pretty bad.
But
Yeah.
he also tells his people in that 4th verse to come out of her, my people,
Yeah.
and be not partakers of her sins. He wants, that's a call of repentance to God's people to come out and receive not of her plagues, because he knows what he's about to do to this city.
So doesn't it seem like the church, the way it was reading in the last couple chapters, that the church is living in this city along with
Yep.
all those that receive the mark of the beast, so to speak.
Yep.
And so now he's saying it's time to come out.
Yep. And he's calling I don't think that would necessarily, I don't know how long that call would be when he
Yeah.
would be saying, come out of her, my people, you know, that might last a long time, you know.
Well, like in the natural sense, the children of Israel coming out, it took quite a long
Quite a
time
few years,
because they become it different,
yeah,
you know.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
So it seems like there's people in this Babylon that aren't actually. They're living in this Babylon, but they're not really partaking of this fornication.
Yeah.
Is that what
I
you guys
agree.
see? They're in that
Yeah.
Babylon,
And I
but they're
think that
not.
I think that
Kinda
mark,
like well, yeah, like some of those Jews in Babylon.
right,
You know, they didn't really
I
right,
think she's been
partake
ruling
of it.
over
But
right.
the churches, sounds like for quite a
And
long
they can-
time.
What'd you say, I'm sorry?
She's been ruling over the churches for
Yeah.
a long time, all these kings, I
Yeah.
think, are. And
But yeah,
it makes me think of, like the Primitive Baptists, each area had their own king, so to speak. They had somebody that ruled this, they
Mhm.
ruled this area, and like the Dailies ruled here, the
Mhm.
Raiders ruled down there. I mean, they were like kings over the,
Certain territory.
yeah. So I can kind of see it would be kind of like that, the kings being people that are running everything. They're under the influence of her.
Yeah.
I remember reading this where it says no more harpers and musicians and pipers and trumpeters
Mhm.
and the light of the candle and all these things. It's like, that sounds like church services in some places. And they would go out and light candles in the front, which the candles were supposed to attract the spirit, you know, and stuff like that. And I was thinking, well, that's. I
Mhm.
remember wondering if is that what he's talking about?
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sure it's a little deeper than
Yeah.
that. But yeah.
was the millstone? Is that what they like threshed on?
Yeah, they would grind wheat and stuff like that with it, or grind different things.
I wonder if
Reeds
it's
and things like
like at Spring Mill, that great big giant stone with,
that went around in circles.
Yeah.
It's a stone one laying flat and then the other
Yeah.
one moving like a wheel. Yeah,
and they were huge.
yeah.
Hmm.
There's different types, yeah, but that's one type I've seen. Yeah,
I guess millstone, that's the stone from the mill,
yeah,
the stone mill, yeah.
yeah,
Okay, that makes sense.
yeah.
The sound of a millstone shall be heard no more at all.
So that
Nobody's grinding
there's
mill
no more
in
food
Babylon.
being produced.
Mm-hmm.
The economy is shut down.
The voice of harpers and
No
musicians and
marriage.
pipers, there's no joy there anymore. Trumpeters, there's no,
No craftsmen.
Yeah, no craftsmen,
No stone.
no marriage.
Mm-hmm.
You think about when they took Israel captive, in the natural sense, they took all the skilled people.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So now there's not gonna be any more of that.
Hmm.
Yeah. Lay it to waste.
Well, and you know, in what Jesus said in about the days of Noah, that in the days of Noah, before the flood, they were buying and selling and marrying and giving in marriage until the day of the flood.
Yeah.
You know, and that's seemed like just normal life. Well, that's what they're doing here. The merchandise of gold and silver and stone and pearls and fine linen and purple, and they're just buying and selling and marrying and giving in marriage, and you know, they're just living their carnal life. They're not thinking about the Lord at all there in Babylon.
Yeah. Was it the Apostle Paul that preached somewhere and they, I'll say the townsfolk, for lack of a better word, got mad because they were selling like those statues of, what is it, Diana or something?
Uh-huh.
And after he preached, they couldn't sell them anymore, and
Yeah.
that's why they got so
Yeah.
mad and tried to kill him or
They-
something, didn't
Yeah,
they?
they messed with he messed with their craft. I think
Yeah.
they said he's destroying their craft. They had a craft where they sculpted these little statues. Yeah, they didn't like that. Gotta get rid of that guy.
Socks back on. They're gonna need to be washed, aren't they? Yeah, that's.
Yep. We don't have much more. Just chapter 21 and chapter 22 is the last two chapters with angels.
There's none in 19 or 20.
Mm-mm.
Not much.
Nope.
And here it says, and they cried weeping and wailing, saying, Alas, alas, that great city, where men were made rich, all that had ships in the sea, by reason of her costliness. For in 1 hour is she made desolate.
Yeah.
So that's pretty sudden.
1 hour.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Like she's going along fine, and that's
Right,
it.
Boom.
right.
Well, it's kind of like his judgment, you know, the long suffering Christ.
And then-
when it's done, it's done.
Right.
Good study.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Rejoice over her, thou heaven, and ye holy apostles and prophets.
Yeah. God hath avenged you.
If
on
people,
her.
if you rejoice over that today, people think you're awful. You're just awful.
Oh, yeah.
Babel get destroyed, and you're rejoicing over that. That's not politically correct.
They named
That's
stuff
terrible.
after her.
That's
There's
just
some company called Babylon.
There's a company called
Babel.
Babel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
they name stuff. It's like, why would you
I
pick
think
that
it's,
name?
Yeah. The Tower of Babel.
I don't think it's referring to Babylon.
The United States is trying to get the whole world to speak English, or get the whole world to speak English.
Oh, they are?
Well, I mean, think about it. Go ahead.
No,
What you gonna say?
no,
Man,
no, you didn't. Go ahead.
no, I got to think about it. Think about it. Well, they want everybody to speak English, right? Isn't that what they were doing at the Tower of Babel? Everybody speak the same language?
True. Well, I
No,
thought
I
about
thought
that.
I thought they did.
They all
speak
spoke the same.
Well, they did already, didn't they?
Yeah,
And then he had them.
But now the
not.
United States is trying to get everybody to speak the same language again.
yeah. I thought about that before. They want everybody to be one big person.
Speak English.
One big,
Well, I think a lot of.
Well,
although nobody's nature will ever allow that, I don't think that.
Well, I mean, that's what we're
Everybody
trying
don't
to
like
do.
each other anymore.
I think
Right.
we just do when people come here, though, don't we?
Yeah.
Probably not the whole world.
No. And a lot of countries have that as a second language because it's such a known language. You know, I mean, I think they feel like it's a benefit.
Yeah, I guess we're really trying to.
Well, it doesn't
get
seem
it.
like it to me.
Well, there for a while they wanted everybody to speak, to accept other languages. So I don't know.
I feel like they had another motive though in that. It wasn't just like the language at Babel.
Well, yeah.
Like they had a motive. Like what were they trying to do there? You know?
Well, they were trying to build a tower up to heaven.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then he caused them to not be able to
But then
understand.
I've often thought about that too. Well, surely we've built taller buildings today, than it was more what was in their heart, wasn't it?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Than
Well, I
the
think
actual height of what they were
I think
building.
it was just them
Oh, yeah.
glorying in their
Building.
power and their wisdom, their wisdom
Yeah,
and their
must have been,
ability
because, I mean,
and
surely with what we can do today, it's far beyond that, whatever tower they built. I mean, we have rockets that go to the moon.
yeah. I mean, they built
So-
the pyramids. They built. I mean,
And pyramids, I mean,
but look what happened to them people.
Yeah, I don't know.
That didn't work out too good either.
Twin Towers, Empire State Building, I mean, I don't know.
Oh,
Surely those are
yeah,
tall.
I don't think tall buildings are the.
Yeah, but they said
issue.
what, if, they wanted to build a building up to,
I think it was
Tower
the
to
idea
heaven.
that they thought they could.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just thinking out loud here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
I just
Their
meant it doesn't
pride
seem
in
like it was
their
just
great
the walls of
abilities.
the
No, right.
And the fact that if we all work together, we can accomplish anything, like strength in numbers. And
Okay.
now that they want to do, they want the whole world to come together and
True.
Well,
save the
fine.
planet.
Fine,
that's
if
their
they
thing.
could, I just don't think they're gonna be able to.
Yeah.
It's kind of a
But
possible task that just sounds better than it really is.
it's a conundrum.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas you've got, you want there to be kindness and tolerance and love for everybody and not exclude anybody and bring it all. And yet then there's all, and that sounds good, because we are supposed to treat everyone
Mhm.
well. But then what comes out of that, because of human nature, is not good.
Right, right. It's not a task that's gonna be
Oh, you got,
accomplished.
your phone's still on.
Oh. That's 'cause